Hey everybody, good morning. How are you doing? It's Dr. Cindy Stark coming in here live for my Tuesdays at 10 talk. I want to just really talk to you guys today about something that's near and dear on my heart. I've already kind of gotten choked up this morning, even thinking about it. And so hopefully I'll be able to get through this talk without crying and without getting choked up. Because I just really have a message on my heart this morning that I wanted to share with you guys. And as always, when you're coming in live, if you can type in hashtag live and let me know that you're here. And if any of what I say today resonates with you, because I feel like I'm going to be kind of touching on a vein or a nerve of something that's really going on a lot right now, post pandemic especially. Feel free to tag a friend, and better yet, if it resonates with you, what I'm going to share with you today, then feel free to share this, because if it resonates with you, it'll likely resonate with your friends and your colleagues and your coworkers, and so I'll make it shareable so you can share it right onto your page. And also, if you're coming in on the replay, type in hashtag replay and let me know where you're from so I can welcome you aboard. Hey, good morning. It's Dr. Cindy Stark. Today I'm going to be talking about state of healing. So, as a lot of you know, I've been practicing medicine for almost 30 years. I'm 52 years old. And so you would think, because I am always kind of witnessing healing all around me, that I would just be feeling like, a lot of us go into medicine, a lot of us go into a lot of different fields because we think we can really help people, right? There's this deep, primordial, primitive wound that we're trying to soothe, I believe, with the professions that we choose in our lives. And so a lot of us do for others what we wish we would have had done for ourselves when we were younger. So, like, I went in to healing people because I just always wanted to help people. I had to watch several of my grandparents pass away in my teenage years. And then we also I lost my 8-week-old nephew when I was 21 years old. And that was like really what sealed the deal to kind of like set me on my healing, or my career path to healing others, because I just wish so badly that I could have saved my nephew when he was 8 weeks old, and I wasn't able to. And so I think a lot of us go into professions where there's either, if you had some justice that wasn't served for you, then you go into being a lawyer because you want to serve justice for other people. And a lot of us in the medical profession, we really want to help others because we wish there were others that could have helped us or helped people that were really close to us. Hey Michelle, it's good to see you here. Thank you for being here live. Um, so a lot of and another reason why I really wanted to give this talk today is I had recently seen that Elvis movie. I don't know if any of y'all have seen the Elvis movie, but both of my children are musicians, but they're grown kids. They're not children. They're 18 and 20 years old, but they're both musicians, and they write music based on what's really near and dear on their heart. Hey Sabrina, and I realized watching that movie. I mean, I don't know, seriously, y'all tell me if y'all watched that movie and if y'all saw this kind of what happened to him at the end of his life and at the end of his movie. I mean, I was only 7 years old, I believe, when he died, so I didn't really get to know him or watch his life. But he's this tender-hearted, very he's a germaphobe. He has like kind of OCD, and but he's also feels really, really deeply. He was brought up in this church where everybody really felt their emotions. And I recently went to a church like this Sunday with Michelle, one of my friends here in town, and like they just let it all out. And so Elvis was, writing music in a way and touching people's hearts, really putting into out there in the societies, things that were on his mind. And what it dawned on me is that musicians and artists, they kind of go into these professions because they feel really deeply, and and that they can put things out on their whatever their medium is, whether it's music or whether it's art or sculpture. But then they're subject to the criticism of the public eye, and so especially right now. Hey, Lynn, people are really subject to a lot of criticism because the artists are, on social media now, and it's just so easy for people to criticize. Well, when you're already in that vulnerable state because you're kind of a more intense emotional person, and then the general population just feels like it's their right to criticize things about you, then you really, I mean, like in this Elvis movie, you'll see it if you haven't seen it yet. He went, he got into drugs. He got into he was very and he had insomnia. He couldn't go out in public. He was very fearful and afraid, and then he was a really easy prey for someone to manipulate his money. And so it just really made me think about even my profession in the hospital, and how so many of us went into this profession thinking we're going to help people, and now we're just really burned out and stressed out and depressed by seeing all the sick and dying people around us, and then the stress and the emotions are just kind of heightened anyway, just because of everything that's been happening since March 2020. So it just made me realize I just really wanted to come in today and talk to you guys about state of healing and what is required so that you can have a full state of healing, so that you can do what's best in your life and contract for safety, and live the life that you were meant to live. All of us are on this earth at this moment in time, and this particular, bag of flesh, so that we can, in these cities that we were planted in, so that we can affect a change in our own circle of friends and our circle of influence. And when you're stuck in a mind that is not healed, then you don't even have access to everything in your mind, so you can't go and affect the changes that you're meant to affect in your circle of influence. That'll make sense as I get into this a little bit further. But anyway, so what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is how I kind of created healing for myself, so that I was able to completely change my life around, and then create this space called Soul Circle Academy, where I facilitate others and assist them with full healing, so that they can turn their lives around, whether it's their mind and their mindset, get complete healing of their mindset, or their body, get control of the diseases that are in their bodies, or their soul, where they really feel like they end up, after they finish my program, ended up on a completely different trajectory of their lives, and the job that their soul was here to kind of ensue on this path. And so, again, I want y'all to know that the healing that I found for myself, if it was available for me, it's available for everybody. I had suffered for a good 30 years with some terrible, crippling belief systems that I either wasn't worthy of love, or I equated physical attention and physical attraction with love, and then also that I just wasn't smart enough to do whatever it was that I needed to do in my life, and I wasn't worthy of having that impact that I always wanted to have. And I really lived with these crippling belief systems for 30 solid years of my life after I was a grown up. So you can just imagine the kind of damage, not only that I did to other people, but also that I did to myself. I always say I hurt the ones that I love the most, and that the one I hurt the most was myself. And I want y'all, I just kind of want to take you back to just kind of like what is trauma, and what is kind of what it is that makes our mind do what our mind does. And I'm going to kind of just really do like a high level overview. I've been doing these talks once a week for a little over a year now, and so if any of these words don't make sense what I'm saying, there'll be a talk in those in my Facebook group called Reclaim Your Life and Health, and they're under the featured tab. So just go over to my Facebook group, and they're all cataloged in there. And anyway, so what happens is when we encounter a person, a place, or a thing in our life, and then we couple it with a really strong emotion, it kind of creates a belief system, and we don't even realize this is happening. Over 90% of our belief systems are created in our minds by the time we're 7 years old. A lot of people don't even know the brain is used for. We know that it kind of directs everything in our body, but you don't even realize that there are emotions that are housed in our brain. There are belief systems that are housed in our brain. It's in a specific part of our unconscious mind. And good morning, everybody, as you're popping in here. It's so good to see everybody this morning. And what happens is, we have two parts of our mind, our conscious and our unconscious mind. Our conscious mind is more located here in the frontal lobe, and it runs 4% of our life, and then 96% of our life is run by our subconscious mind. So if you don't kind of know a little bit about how to run your brain, then your brain ends up running you. And then you wake up, hashtag ask me how I know. You wake up at age 40, and then again at age, you blink twice, and you wake up at age 50, and you realize my life is not going the way that I want it to at all. And you don't even know how to get hold the reins of your brain so that you can start moving in a different direction. And I'm just so thankful for these tools that I found when I was 50 years old, right in the middle of the pandemic in 2020. And once I healed my subconscious mind and some trauma that was really running the show, everything in my life started changing. And I just want to get really vulnerable with you guys this morning and tell you kind of what happened with me on my healing journey, because it was really fascinating. Some things happened that I would have never foreseen happen at age 50, and the things that happen in other people's lives are just incredible. So what happens is when we encounter the person, place, or thing, and we couple that with a really strong emotion, we create a belief system, and that is part of what is all in our subconscious mind, and it's how we end up. It becomes the filter that is kind of like how we view the entire world. You think that you're seeing the world as it is, right? But you're not seeing the world as it is. You are seeing the world, what our subconscious mind does, and I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty neurobiology of it because I don't want to confuse anybody here today. But suffice it to say that there are parts of the subconscious mind that create these filters of what it is that we are even able to see. So what we are actually feeling like we are seeing out here in the outside world in our daily lives, morning, noon, and night, are mere figments of our imagination, and it's only the things that match up with the exact belief systems that we were exposed to and that were created for us by our own unique setting of our lives, time and place, and the people that we ended up getting in contact with, the people that we ended up being born to before age 7. So pretty much everything that you see as a 50-year-old is only until you heal your subconscious mind and get rid of all the stored trauma and the things that are belief systems that aren't serving you, are things that exactly mimic and mirror this specific pathology that you were exposed to from age birth to 7. And I hope that makes sense. And just trust me on that. And like I said, if you want to get more into the reticular activating system, more into the gestalts, all that, there are talks where I just go over that in my Facebook group. But this morning I just want to kind of give a high level overview. So when we are deleting and generalizing and distorting, which is what our subconscious mind does to keep us safe, we delete and generalize and distort everything in our lives to match that, which is what we were exposed to in our particular unique belief systems. Again, age 0 to 7, we are matching exactly what's in there, and we're only able to even bring it up as a memory or process it as a possibility in our lives if it matches all of that. And I don't know about you, but I always say I want to do better than my parents did, and I know my kids are going to want to do better than their dad and I did. And so I would really like to kind of evolve from what I was exposed to from age 0 to 7, and I'm sure you guys would too. And so that's what my program is for. We actually go in there and we get rid of all the limiting beliefs, and then we implant beliefs that actually serve us. And so for me, it was I'm unlovable. That's all I would see, are things that proved to me I was unlovable, I was unworthy, I wasn't good enough, I'll always be poor, I can't make money and keep it, because that's kind of what had happened to me and my parents when I was younger. And if you don't believe that it's possible, then you won't even see that it's there, And what happens is when you are seeing that same scenario over and over and over again, because it's the only thing that you see as an option in your life, there's no choice in that. It's almost as if you're a slave to your past. And for me, I kind of broke out of my family, our certain family systems, and became a doctor because I really wanted to help people. But then I still didn't see everything that was available to me. I'll just fast forward to just like 4 months ago. I've been a full-time doctor for 16 years up here, and that really wasn't serving me. It was taking up, 14 hours of my day, 24 days a month. Where I was having to be in very close geographic proximity to the hospital. I didn't feel like I could go anywhere. I didn't feel like I could do everything, make the impact that I wanted to make in my life. And I never thought about it until I cleared my reticular activating system, which is a part of the subconscious mind, which is what my tools help clear. But I actually healed up my subconscious mind, let's just put it that way. And then I was finally able to see for the first time that there are opportunities out here for independent contractors. They get physicians just like me to independently contract at their hospital. And if I wanted to replace my income, like dollar for dollar, penny for penny, in 6 days of employment as an independent contractor, I can exactly replace my doctor income for 1 month, 6 days versus 24 days. I never saw that before. Like I was in this belief system that because you start one way and you do a good job and you serve this community and you can't change, and there is no other way except for the way that and you have to have employer provided health insurance and all this kind of stuff. Like I didn't even see that there was a way to, number one, replace my income, 24 days of employment, 14 hours a day. That's in exactly 6 days of service a month, number one. And number two, that there was a health insurance out there for me. You can get independent health insurance. I never knew that. I thought you had to be full-time employed with all these benefits. So there's just a lot of things that I feel like people, especially in my industry, right, we work in a big hospital setting, they are burned out, they're exhausted, they're depressed by the things they're seeing all the time, and they don't see any way out. And how can you see a way out when you're working and you're on call 14 hours a day, 24 days a month? I mean, all you have are the weekends off. And it just got me thinking that people don't see that there's another way out there. And there's no choice in a completely, I call it kind of like a gunked up filter, in our subconscious mind. If these filtering systems are all full of gunk and muck, there's no choice in that. And so if once you get that gunk and that muck out, then you start seeing everything that's out there. It was probably out here for me all the time. I never saw it, right? I literally never saw it. And if I did see it and I started having an inkling of it, then there was people in my life who can remain nameless that would tell me that wasn't a smart idea, or the taxes would be too high, or it wasn't coming along with enough benefits. And so every one of my ideas were squashed down. And then another thing that happened once I completely got my subconscious mind back working in alignment with my conscious mind. I did all this healing in 2020. Is number one, I could see that I could help other people. I think one of the greatest things we can do on this earth is when we go through something. When we go through something that really gives us freedom, or we heal from something that's really, really bogging us down and causing us a lot of stress, then your greatest thing that you can do in this earth is to go and help other people heal the way that you healed and teach them the tools that you learned. And so like the best thing that came out of all of that is that I created an online coaching program where I help people redesign their life the way that they want to design it. And it's just been such a pleasure and such a joy to carry a dozen of people through my program and see the amazing healing that you can accomplish in your whole entire mind, body, and soul just by 6 to 12 weeks worth of tools where you can actually get rid of this just clean your filtering out. But so another thing that I had been struggling with, and I think that's what's literally getting me choked up, is this experience I was having with choking. I was really suffering, I believe, in my solar plexus, which was like way down here in my the very, very, very end of my esophagus. I had been struggling with some choking, and I kind of just again, my filtering system made me believe that it's not that I wasn't worthy of, thank you, Heather, that I wasn't worthy of healing, but I didn't even think that I could be healed. I thought that my intermittent choking was due to anxiety, and that anxiety was due to some really bad decisions I had made, like in my early 30s, and I was kind of like stuck in this guilt and shame spiral. And so I thought that it was just my lot in life to kind of suffer from intermittent choking and suffer from anxiety, and I knew I didn't want to be put on medications like Xanax or Lexapro. No offense to people that are on that. I just didn't want that for myself, and so I just kind of suffered, for 16 years. And I was here at my cottage last night. My daughter and I were looking through some old photo albums, and she saw her. Ugh, she just killed me. But she saw a picture from her birthday party last year, and we had taken her to this really nice place out underneath the moonlight and little bistro lights at excuse me, not Chateau Alon, at Avalon, called Cafe Intermezzo. And we were looking at pictures of us having cheesecake by the fireplace, and she said, "Oh, that was such a terrible night that night." And we were all dressed up, looking so good as a family of four. And I'm like, why was that such a horrible night that night? I don't remember that. And she said, because you choked on the first bite of your chicken, and you spent the next 30 minutes in the bathroom. And I said, oh my gosh, I had completely forgotten about that. But I was so stressed out. Another thing that happened, well, I'll get into that in a second, but I was so stressed out that particular night. And I choked on the very first bite of my food, and it took 30 minutes for it to go down. And so I missed the whole family dinner, and that's why we were having cheesecake out by the fireplace, because the family had gotten the bill. And anyway, I didn't even realize, like, the minute, so I left a loveless relationship I had been in. I left a full-time job so that I could make a bigger impact in the world, and so I could fulfill some passion and dreams that I had in my life. And everything started opening up for me. I got my esophagus fixed. I had to go through a series of 3 dilation procedures. It was very painful, and I had to be put on a lot of medicine in the short term afterwards. But then because I got out of that relationship I was in, I also realized I was able. I don't know. It's just like a bunch of things fell off of me, and I realized I'm able to go and quit that full-time job and change into this independent contractor thing where I work 5 days a month. And everything is so different in my life right now. I had forgotten just how much that I was choking back then. And I think about it, just so sick that I thought that I don't know, that I couldn't get healed from that. I thought, you're anxious, Cindy, just take smaller bites and chew more thoroughly and drink more water. I mean, that's all I was doing. That's all I thought I needed to do. But it sure enough, I ended up having something called an esophageal stricture. And you're supposed to be at a 24 millimeter opening at that point of your esophagus, and I had been scarred down to like a 7 millimeter opening. So unless something was like this small, it couldn't fit through my esophagus, and I would choke. So like, no wonder I was choking every meal, or not every meal. It sometimes just even happened 1 to 7 times a week. But regardless, I'm just saying, when we were looking at those pictures last night, it just kind of dawned on me what even my daughter was experiencing. Michelle is saying her mind got healed using the tools that I taught her. She's one of my graduates of my program, and now her body is starting to heal from the stored body trauma of physical and sexual abuse as a child. She's starting to feel safe in her own body, and she wants everybody to know that healing is possible. Michelle is one of my clients with the most dramatic, remarkable healing that I've ever seen in my life. But what I just want to kind of tell everybody is that once you change and you finally and if you want to know more about joining this program, I have a dedicated team of healers where we will facilitate you in healing everything, whatever it is that you uniquely suffer from, in whether it's your mind, your body, or your soul. And we're here for you. And if you're interested in that, just drop me a DM and let's talk. I'll just ask you a few questions. But what I want you to realize is that once I started healing, and I did all this healing back in 2020, everything in my life started changing. Like, I couldn't stay in that relationship any longer. I couldn't stay in that job any longer. I couldn't keep choking any longer. And when you start changing, everybody around you changes. And sometimes people don't believe that, but what happens is that people are kind of vibing off of what you're putting out, and they're just reflecting on kind of the mirror that you're putting out. And yeah, you can reach me at Cindy@therealdrcindy.com, or just go to my website, therealdrcindy.com. But I guess what it kind of dawned on me is that 96% of everything that was running my life was just kind of twisted and distorted from some faulty wiring. And if my specific healing, and it took me 6 weeks in 2020, can lead to getting rid of a loveless relationship, changing a career that I had spent 30 years training to become a doctor, but it wasn't serving me anymore. And there are other things out there that can serve you. Still use your tools, still keep my board certification up and all that, but just serve my whole entire 30 days of my month every month with just 5 days instead of 24 days in service. You can still feel like you're helping people, but in a way that works for you more. And then I literally got physical body healing, with this choking. And if that can do that for me, and then I ended up noticing changes in other people, like my son became a musician. Some really messed up family dynamics started healing. So people were starting to be more loving to other people. Like, I'll never forget this one day I healed. It kind of comes in layers, and we kind of go from your history of your life from birth to right now, and we heal you layer by layer by layer. And I had gone through this one certain layer of my healing, and my brother-in-law started loving my mother's boy, started making himself more available to my mother in a way that he hadn't in 10 years. And I'm like, golly, did anyone even know what I was doing? They're self-guided meditations. And when I healed this one big layer of trauma, a family relationship completely, nowhere near me in the city, it started helping too, helping in that. So when you change, everybody around you changes. And I don't know about you, but the longer we go in this earth and in this life and in this body, I just realized that we're, like I said before, we're here to affect a change in the lives of people that are important to us and in our own circle of influence. And if we don't, get busy healing ourselves and completely changing the way that we vibe, then there are whole generations and whole families and whole communities that you could have had an impact on that you're not having an impact on. And again, I'm a healer, right? I'm a doctor, and I feel like I chose this career to kind of soothe a wound that I had from a really, really young age, specifically of losing my little 8-week-old nephew when I was 21. And it's just like little Cody kind of represented struggling and suffering of all the babies in America. And I just really wanted to help. But when you're wanting to soothe the wound, and that's like your whole entire like what you were born with was this desire to help other people, and then you're not able to because you're just kind of shooting yourself in your own foot. You don't even realize why you're doing it, but you just keep like repeating these same patterns over and over and over again. You keep picking the same scenario in your job, in your career, in your love relationships, your friendships, and you just keep repeating this over and over again. You got to realize you're not operating with any kind of choice whatsoever. And so if you're ready to start operating with some choices, yes, Lynn says we are all connected energetically. You don't even realize just how much we're all just, I don't want to get onto this tangent, but I do just want to say one thing because Lynn she's dropping a truth bomb right there. But we feel like we are physical bodies, When you see all this physical stuff, you see the muscles and the nerves and the arteries and the skin and the hair, and you're like, we're physical bodies. But when you actually look down on a cellular level, we're 99% empty space and less than 1% physical matter, like neutrons and protons. And so it's just really fascinating when you think about, even though it looks like we are a physical body, we're really just a ball of energy. We're a ball of space, and we're seeing ourselves like this because it's what we're trained to see. But you're connected with other people energetically because all of that empty space is connected with each other. Anyway, getting myself off my train of thought. But if you are interested in healing, and you're interested in not only having your own, mind, body, and soul kind of like back to a level where you are feeling in control of your life, but also you just know that you're getting a little older in life. I know I'm in the second half of my life. Both my grandmas lived to 96 years old, so I'm 52, so I'm over the halfway point now, and like time's ticking. So if you're at that phase of your life where you just want to know how you can live your life based on the guidebook that is uniquely designed for you, then just drop me a DM or send me an email. I'll put my email in there too, and I'll get back in touch with you. Because when the world opens up to you and to everything that's available for you, and you thought, oh, I'm doing really good because I'm living like this, and you realize that what's really here for you is like all of this, that is just amazing. And I feel like I just have such I can be a beacon of hope. Yeah, I want to be happy too, and I am happy, whole and healed and supported, and I just want to be a beacon of hope for other people, that even if they've been in a soul-sucking job, or a soul-sucking relationship, or they're struggling with their physical health, there is hope for you. So just reach out to me. It'll be my pleasure to talk to you. But again, I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 10, and thank you so much for being here. And if any of this resonated with you, share it with your friends and on your page, and let's just heal the world one person at a time. But I love you guys. Take care, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 10.